Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talks with Tina, where we are pursuing our most true and authentic self by what? Uncovering our roots. Man, oh man, do I have a topic for y'all today. Y'all, when I say I've been excited about this topic, I think I'm a nerd to my own videos. Mind your business. Anywho, in the spirit of getting straight to the point, today's topic is titled The Science Experiment. Have you ever thought, we always say life is like a game, right? You know, chess, whatever you want to call it. But have you ever thought about your life as a science experiment? Hear me out. Usually, when scientists do an experiment, they often have to they go through the scientific method. They go through all the different things. Y'all know I come with it. You have to observe, question, research, hypothesize, experiment, test the hypothesis, draw a conclusion, and then you report the results. So when I was really thinking about this, I literally say this in every video, when I was thinking about it, if I'm thinking, when I was thinking about how my life is, and if I'm reflecting back on what I've gone through, just my life in general, I'm observing, and then I'm questioning a lot of things. Then I'm doing some research, prior research, uncovering your roots. How do we get here? How did we get to this space? How did I become the woman that I am now? What molded me? What shaped me? Then I test the hypothesis. Did those things really make me? Did they break me? What did it do? And then I continue with my research. I come do an experiment. My experiment is my life trials. Everything that I've been through is the experiment. And then here we are to the conclusion. What is the conclusion? And how can we reform and reshape based off of the results? Y'all not ready for that. I'm going to take it back again. So if you're going through the scientific method, you're observing your life, you're observing everything that you've gone through. Boom. You're questioning. So while you're observing, you're like, dang, did I really break my toe at 4 years old? I did. And now you have to come up with a hypothesis. How did this make me a better person? Did this make me a better person? Am I going to become a better person? The end goal for me is to become a better person. But hypothesize, what are you gaining, or what is to come of your experiment? Your experiment is life. What are you hoping to gain from this thing called life? And as we go and we experiment, that is us. So what are the results? What are you hoping to gain through your experiment, which is called life, right? So when I also thought about this topic, I was thinking about Newton's first law. I sound like such a nerd right now. But Newton's first law, and this is not the verbatim thing, but basically an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. I've memorized that thing since I was in 6th grade. That's when I first learned it. But an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Usually, when we get off track somehow in some way in life, we felt like we were moseying, doing good. There's always a point in life where we feel like we're doing good. You were in a good spot, and then all of a sudden everything came crashing down. An object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. Sometimes these situations we go through in life is our unbalanced force. That's that unbalanced force, because then it knocks us off. We are no longer in the motion and in the swing that we thought we were, because we have been acted upon by an unbalanced force. Y'all know I talk from a relationship standpoint. This relationship was an unbalanced force. I was at a great place in life, and it's not to say that I wasn't happy during those times. Obviously, things went wrong. So an object in motion, I was in motion. I was in the swing of things, living in my singleness, doing what needed to be done. Stays in motion. I was doing good unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. That was my unbalanced force. And when this object goes back in motion, it's all about gravity and inertia. That's what Newton's first law is all about, gravity and inertia. So once I get back to my gravitational pull and my equal balance, baby, I'm here. And so I feel like I'm getting back into my pool. So the whole point of this is scientific experiment. Start analyzing. We got to do some data on ourselves. Take some data on yourself, because sometimes we don't yield the best results. We don't often have the best solution. But then we have to go back and we start the whole process all over again. And so the scientific method is a cycle. So once we don't get the proper results, we start it back over again. We observe, we question, we research, well, we hypothesize, we research, we experiment, and then we conclude or have results. And if those results are not based off of the hypothesis that we've created, we start again. Gosh, I really wish I could put this I hope y'all are receiving this the way that I'm trying to get it out, because we got to start analyzing. If you analyze everything, then there's always room to maneuver the results, because sometimes those results aren't going to be exactly what we planned. I can hypothesize that I'm going to be fantastic. I'm going to be a millionaire by the age of 27. Well, maybe I have poor money management skills. Now that millionaire situation is kind of out of the mix, but guess what? Good thing about the scientific method is that it's a cycle. So I can start this cycle over again and figure out where I went wrong, or something in that equation and that experiment did not go right. It's time that you start going and looking into the equation and the experiment to figure out where things did not go right, and you start that cycle back over again to yield the results that you feel that you want to receive. If I'm sad and depressed, somewhere in this cycle my experiment is off. It's time for me to go back and try this again. Somewhere in my life that heartbreak did something so bad to me, it's time for me to go back in that experiment and try something again. Let me start back at my hypothesis. What did I want to yield in those results that I did not receive? I wanted ultimate happiness. I didn't gain ultimate happiness, so now it's time to start back over. I have to go through that cycle. Go through that cycle and yield the results that you want to see. An experiment, and sometimes it's not always right. And maybe, just maybe, somebody can come and do it better than you, but guess what? You start that cycle back over again. How do I improve? How do I make this better than the next? How do I make this the results that I wanted to see from this experiment? It's my experiment. I've gone off previous data. Now it's time for me to yield my own experiment. If you're trying to live somebody else's life, baby, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work, because you're not gonna yield the results that they've already put in their experiment. Goodness. So, how do we full circle this? How do we make it make sense to your life? Let's get that scientific method rolling. You are your own science experiment. You observe your life. You question some of the things that you've done, some of the things that you feel like you need to go in and redo. Hypothesize. What is the results that you are gaining, that you are looking to gain from this experiment? Then we experiment. No, you kind of do research. How do I go about this? How do I navigate this? Experiment. Your life is the experiments, the trials and the tribulations you go through. That's your experiment. Then we yield those results. There's your conclusion. Did I get what I wanted from this? No. All right, so what went wrong? What went off in this cycle? Let's start back over. Let me start from the beginning to see where things went wrong and make this equation flow together to get the results that I intended from this. And if it's not the results, then obviously something needs to be tweaked in the equation. And then I need a better experiment. And baby, I hope I didn't talk too fast, because y'all see how excited I was, because I was just rolling at the tongue. The science experiment. Come on now. Something ain't right, you start it back over. Something didn't produce the way you wanted to, start it back over. Your life is a science experiment. Your trials and tribulations are here for a reason. You hypothesize and you make it back right. And that's the chat, folks.